Let's be real. Sensory tools and movement breaks are great, but if you're not addressing the root issue, they're just a band-aid that you're using as a solution. Many therapists make the same mistake over and over, and kids don't get the support that they really need. Do you want to know what not to do as school-based occupational therapist setting up a school-based intervention? Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to this episode. My name is Coca McDonald. I am an occupational therapist and the creator and founder of Reflex Integration Through Play program. In this episode, I'm going to share with you the 8 mistakes you want to avoid when setting up a school-based reflex and sensory integration program. Let's start. Number 1 is skipping teacher and staff training. You can't just throw a program into a school and expect to work. You're not the only one in the caseload. And just because you're putting a program together that might be perfect on paper, that does not mean it will be carried out by the staff. So we have to make sure that the teachers and the staff understand what reflex integration or sensory integrations are so that they can carry it out. You can do that by training them or providing a training program that is already done for them that they can easily access. Or you have to explain step by step for why they need to put this program in as part of the curriculum for them. So number 1 is skipping teacher and staff training. Number 2 is trying a one-size-fits-all approach. There's no one-size-fits-all. We have to be prepared to coming up with activities that fits a different child with different needs. What works with one kid, even though these 2 children have the same diagnosis, it might seem like on paper they have the same chronological age, even developmental age, that doesn't mean that might fit both of them. So we cannot come up with a one-size-fits-all. We have to be flexible and understand that the child might actually need a different approach. Every child is different. What works for one will not work for another. But sometimes you might get lucky and you have a program that can work with many kids. But being flexible, building a flexible approach and a program that the kids can use with ease and the educators and the staff can use with ease. Number 3 is focusing only on sensory tools without addressing foundational development and primary motor reflex patterns. Sensory breaks are great, movement breaks are great. We are going to give out all that for our clients, and fidget toys are great, weighted blankets are great. All these tools that we can give them are great, but they are part of a coping mechanism to some extent. So as you're creating a school program or an intervention, think about the root cause. What are the root cause of the child struggling to cope? What are the root cause of the child being delayed? What are the root cause for a child not being able to participate in a classroom or social setting or playground, and you name it? Being able to address the root cause is important. At the same time, you are giving out these tools you might give out to help the child cope. One is the bottom-up approach, finding out the root cause of the child and addressing it. And then from the top down will be you're giving accommodation, helping them to cope while you're working on simultaneously with the challenge that they're facing. And in that sense, make sure that you understand the child's main needs, root cause, create a baseline for that child in order to address the challenging situation or goals or functional skills that they're working on. Number 4 mistake is skipping developmental foundation. This ties up with the first one I just talked about. So reflex integration follows a natural order. Just like babies learn to roll, then they start to go on all fours, and then they start to crawl, and they can pull to stand and creep around the furniture and walk on their own. There is a developmental progression. And the developmental progression also goes with the reflex integration period as well. And those 2 work together. They do not work separately. Those 2 work together. And skipping developmental foundation can also affect in the way that you are implementing these school programs. So understanding that is going to help you in developing a program that is really from bottom up approach. Instead of going from the top down, you can start addressing a bottom up approach to the recommendation that you're giving so that you can get the highest return into the time that the teachers are gonna invest in putting this exercise in the classroom. Understand where is that client and that developmental progression and that chart for you if you have any if a visual that you're working on, and understand what kind of activities do you recommend in order to work on where they're at, and not just throwing out ideas and knowing that, well, just do this exercise, do that exercise, without really addressing the developmental foundation and developmental progression. Number 5 is leaving therapists out of the picture. This is when an educator or a service provider who's not trained trying to DIY programs, maybe looking at it on YouTube and finding out different exercises and hope for the best, or just randomly use some dance videos. All that can be fun and beneficial to some extent, but it really does not address the foundational needs because you also don't know what you really are looking at. So I highly recommend that you work with specialists like OTs, PTs, SLPs, trained providers who are expert to help you produce and create the school program that is most effective for you, that you don't have to do activities is going to be a challenge for a child. I have seen several classrooms that they just throw in a dance video, and sometimes I can walk in and I have kids who are just almost stimming on the video because all they see is this flashlights and dancing, and the child is not doing anything. They're just standing there and watching and not even cooperating. Just because the child is focused, it doesn't mean it's helping the child. So be careful and randomly picking activities that is not really recommended by a specialist. So I highly recommend that you work with a specialist that is trained in this field. The same way you don't go to YouTube online and try to figure out how to pull your teeth if you need to have dental extraction that you need to do, right? So you go to the dentist. So this is really a specialized area as well. Think of it that way. Go to the specialist, get the support. There are a lot of trainings that are out there that you can get, and you don't have to DIY it yourself. So please do that. Number 6 is relying too much on equipment. Again, therapy balls are great. We recommend them. Swings are great. I'm an OT that we do that for sensory integration, and we use that for vestibular needs and balance boards. All those things are good. Equipment are great, but they're not magic on their own. Kids need to actively engage. It's not just putting them on the swing and you are doing the work, that is actually a passive work that you're doing. As much as possible, you want to have that child actively engage with you, even if as an OT you're in an OT gym and then you're working with the kids. You want to actively engage with you, not passively being pushed and rocked by you. As much as possible, create a stage that they are cooperating and actively engaging with you, because you want that. You need the kids to engage in the movement, not just passively sit through it. Make sure that they're actively moving with purpose. Think through which activity is actively engaging and which one is passive. I highly recommend on active participation with the child because we want to do play-based approach. We want them to interact and respond to their environment. This will help with the sensory integration as well as reflex integration. Number 7 is skipping screening and progress check. So if you don't track progress, how do you know what's working and what's not working? So start with a baseline first. Baseline screening, understand where the classroom is at, understand where the child is at if you're doing a pull-out or little group session that you're going to do, and recheck regularly and see where they're at. Implement the intervention for a couple of weeks But in 2 weeks, you want to at least in 2 weeks see some kind of result. If they're plateaued, they don't get any result, maybe you have to switch. You don't want to wait too long for you to switch the activity. You don't want to do the activity over and over again and bore them. They don't want to get bored either. You want to have a play-based approach, and you don't want to the child lose interest in the activity. And then you also want to make sure, prove to yourself, the child as well as the teacher that you're working with. If the recommended exercise that you're having the school to do, you want to see result. You want to see at least in 2 weeks of repetitive exercise that they're doing throughout the week, and you're going in a weekly basis and you're checking on the progress. You want to see some kind of improvement, and then you can tweak the school program according to the result that you see. And last one is making it too serious and forgetting the play. I know I can fall into this from time to time as well, because I can be so focused on these reflex pattern and we need to get it. We need to get the basics down. But from what we're talking about and reflex integration through play is we want to encourage play-based, because when you're playing, you're actually open to learning, you're exploring, your defenses are down. If kids have insecurities or hesitation about activities, they're more reluctant at first, but then they're willing to cooperate with you. They're willing to try new things. They wanted to risk it. We want to get in that play-based approach. We want them to take risks. Think about it. When we are going in there and giving intervention, we usually coming in, we're working on the areas of their body, the brain-body connection that's the most difficult for them. We're not just there to have fun. They can have fun just going by to recess. We really are working on the most challenging areas. And it's not easy to encourage them to do what's normally challenging for them, and they rather not do the activity. Is for us to make them feel that this is actually fun, and you're almost tricking the child, right? So you're tricking them by making it fun, and then you're having them do the most challenging activity in the session. So it is possible. You have to really put on your play hat and really act like a child yourself and not be too rigid in your approach, and look at it like, would they like to have fun and to dare to act like a kid? And then if you start thinking about it that way, they're most likely to imitate your energy. And if the sillier you are, the more likely that they'll imitate you as well, because these are kids. So be silly, be fun, try the activities with them, and then join the activity instead of just being rigid there and for them to feel like they have to follow you, because that doesn't work. So your energy matters, the way you approach the activity will matter, the way you are acting with them will matter. So come into a session, be fun with them, and try out the activities yourself. So if you want to learn more about this, if you want to learn to incorporate a school-based program in your classroom, if you are an occupational therapist, a school-based occupational therapist, and you work with schools and you want to learn how to incorporate this school program in your practice and also help other teachers under your care, you are welcome to join our RITP school-based program. We are launching it on March 29th. We're going to have a kickoff. You can go down here in the show notes somewhere and look at the link and sign up. Inside the program, we have several resources for you. We have a program that we've been testing out and using with our RITP certificate therapists, as well as with schools, programs, and homeschoolers worldwide that we've been testing out, and we're getting the best result. You get support and with implementation and carry out. We have coaching programs and coaching calls that we'll have monthly that you can come and ask your questions to help you implement. Inside, you have AOTA approved trainings that you have access to. This will help you support children's development while improving focus in the classroom and enhance learning, and create a done-for-you program that is already tested out and it works from pre-K all the way to high school that you can easily implement and plug and play for the therapist with the teachers that you're working with. We have the trainings available there specifically for teachers. You don't have to worry about you creating it. We've been using it. I've been using it with the school that I've been working with. You'll have access to that. We are launching it and having it available end of this month and March 29th. And if you are a school-based occupational therapist or servicing schools, or a therapist, a professional therapist who wants to use these tools inside like a group session, even a home program, and you're interested in using Reflex integration through Play resources, this is going to be great for you. If you join us, we'd love to have you and we'll support you. In the meantime, think through the 8 mistakes that I mentioned here and see which one you fall into, and just tweak one by one and making your program accessible for the teachers, accessible for the staff, making sure that you have a good training that's available for the teachers, making sure you have a program that is flexible, not one size fits all situation, because there's no one treatment that works for everybody. If somebody says this is the best and this is the only, trust me, it's not. There is no one size fits all. Each kid is different, and we have to be flexible and we have to be always learning. So you want a program that's constantly shifting, constantly growing and learning, not that, yeah, that's just my thought about that. And make sure that you have a flexible mind as you're working with them. Make sure that you are fun and exciting and playful with the kids, so they most likely to work with you. And make sure that you're working on the root causes, not just a band-aid that we're putting on to make them just fit in that 45-minute session or just in the classroom for an hour so they can just focus. So pile on all the accommodation they need to do to just stress their body up and focus. Instead, think about like program or approach that really works on their root cause, and then you can actually help them in all areas of their development. Try to make sure, please, not to DIY. There is a training available. You can come with us. We want you to learn with us and grow with us. We have resources that we've been using for several years now. You can use that. You can go anywhere else you can find, but do not DIY. Get trained, get fully trained, because you want to give your clients the best, and you don't want to, waste your time looking DIYing things. Last one is like not just relying on tools, giving them little tools. Those things are just to help them cope as much as possible. Think of the root cause. What's the root cause of this child not being able to focus in the classroom? What can we do? Is this something that we can support? And all these things, we talk about it inside our program. So you're definitely welcome to join us. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining me today in our episode, and I hope to see you next time. Share this with others who might benefit, and let us know what you think, as well as what topic that you want me to talk about next time. If you're in our community, you're probably familiar with all the resources that we have. So as you're using these resources, reach out to us, ask your questions, and I will make sure to do a Q&A response session in one of our podcasts that answering all of your questions. So send us your questions. I'll be adding them to the list and I'll respond. Talk to you soon. Bye.